Kelly from the Wakanda Library here. Today I'm going to teach you how to sew your own sloth. I started by drawing a simple outline of a sloth on a piece of paper, and then I cut it out. If you want to make it a little bit bigger, just draw a bigger one. Smaller, draw them a little bit smaller. You're going to need to cut out 2 of them to make a front and the back of your sloth. So whatever material you have, if you have some, I have some felt, so I'm using the felt today. Also, you can use an old t-shirt, a pillowcase, whatever you have that it'll fit on, and that's okay for you to cut up. Always make sure that you get permission. And then you're going to take the outline and you're going to either pin it on if you have pins, or you could just tape it. It makes it a lot easier for cutting it out if it doesn't wiggle around. And you'll need to cut out 2 pieces. So make sure whatever material you're using that you can fit 2 of them on there. So if I kind of was careful like that, I could cut out 2 of them. Okay. After you cut your 2 pieces out, you're going to end up with this. And then you're going to decide how you want your sloth to look. So there's 2 different ways you can sew it. So this guy over here, I sewed so that the stitches are a little bit more hidden. And then I'm working on another one over here, and I thought it'd be more fun to make the stitches show. I'm doing it this way. So if you're going to make the stitches hidden, so I want this to be on the outside, I'm going to sandwich it in on the inside. You'll line up your 2 pieces of fabric very carefully. And you're going to take a needle and a thread. That's the only thing that might be a little tricky to come by, but I bet if you ask someone at home, you'd be surprised. They probably have one around your house. Okay. You take your needle and your thread. Make sure you put the little knot on the end of this thread so it doesn't pull all the way through. And then I like to start right here on his foot. It's important to make sure you line them up really good, and you need to keep them pinched together closely while you're sewing. So you're going to come from the back and go all the way through, and then pull it all the way through. And you're going to notice my string is a little bit short. That's definitely not enough to go all the way around. And if you think it'll be easier if you make it really long so you won't have to keep rethreading the needle, it gets more tangled that way, and it actually takes a little bit longer. So if you just keep it short, it's a little bit easier. And then you just push it back through and pull it all the way out. Oops. Pull it all the way through. Just keep looping it around. And if you do it this way, you're not going to poke yourself in the finger, because I am seeing right where it's going in, right next to my finger, not underneath my finger. So you're going to go all the way around with this, leave a little opening so we can stuff it up, and then we'll turn it inside out, and you'll end up with this part on the outside. So you can see how nice I sewed it there. And this one's going to say Jacob's Tennis, because that's where my daughter went to school. So if you decide you want to do it this way to let the stitches show, this way you'll just put the 2 pieces together. So you'll have this way will be on the outside. You still want that to show on the outside. So you would just lay the 2 pieces together this way. All right, and then you pinch the fabric together. I'm going to show you on this one since I've already got this guy almost done. Same thing, get your needle and thread ready with the little knot at the end. And you just hold it pinched together. This is a little trickier. You're going to come up next to your finger, so be careful, don't poke yourself. Pull it all the way through. Okay. All right. And then you're going to be able to see those neat stitches. Same thing. You're going to go all the way around and leave a little opening to stuff it. What I used today for stuffing, I had some stuffing from an old pillow. I had a pillow with a hole in it, so I used that to stuff it in. You could use the leftover pieces of t-shirt or felt or fabric that you have. You could put beans or rice in it. Again, look around the house, see what you can source for it. Right? And when you get to the end, you're going to leave your little opening and you'll stuff it up, and then you'll finish sewing it closed. Okay, so I'm going to finish this guy really quick, and then I'm going to show you how I put a face on it. So if you run out of thread and you need to rethread your needle, you make sure you leave a little bit so you can tie a knot, and then you just rethread your needle and start with a fresh one. Like I said before, it makes it a little bit easier to do a shorter piece. If they're really long, you end up with knots. As you're pulling through this, trying to pull the really long thread through, you're going to end up with a knot. Also, if you get tired of sewing and think, oh, I'll just make the stitches a little further apart so it'll go faster, then you kind of get like big bunches in the fabric like that. It's a fun thing to do on a rainy day, or maybe when you're watching something on Netflix or listening to music. Just take your time and do it. It's also something that, you know what, it's okay to take a break from. If you're tired and you just want to put it down and come back to it another time, that's all right to do too. It's also a great thing to do with maybe a younger brother or sister, or if you're babysitting this summer, it's always a fun thing to do to keep them busy. Okay, I'm going to cut this off. Now I want to tie a knot in the end of this so it doesn't come undone. I'm going to pull a little tight. Remember, like I said, if you pull it too tight, it's going to ripple up. You don't want the fabric to ripple up. I'm going to try and move the knot down as close to his body as I can. All right. Going to keep it down low, and then snip it right next to him in the long thing. There. It's kind of fuzzy. All right. So to put a face on him, I already cut out a little piece of material. On this one, I glued some little pieces of felt on there and drew his mouth, but for this guy, I'm just gonna draw his face on. I have a Sharpie right here and make two little eyes. You could draw a face right on it depending on what color he is. If you made him a lighter color fabric, you could draw your face right onto him. You can make the sloth look any way you want. I'm gonna make mine look happy. This one will look a little bit more awake. I think the other one looks kind of like he's sleeping. And then I'm just gluing his face right on. You can use any kind of glue to glue it on. If you decide you want to sew his face on, you're going to need to do it before you sew him all the way together. So let's put his face on. There he is. A little Wakanda sloth. Purple and gold. Let it dry for a little bit, squish it on. And I'm gonna go back to this guy and show you. So I did the same thing with this guy. I sewed him all the way around. Remember, I turned him right side out and then stuffed him. And now he still has this little opening left here, since I wanted the stitches to be more hidden on this one. So the way to close this is you're gonna kind of need to pinch it, fold them in a little bit and pinch it together. And then I do it on a spot where it's kind of gonna be hidden. So you are going to be able to see these stitches a little bit, but we'll try and keep them as hidden as we can. We can pinch them together and make small little stitches here. Oops, you guys can't see me, but I'm putting my glasses on because it's really small. And then we'll just stitch them up. The fun thing about this is that you can make a sloth, or you could maybe draw a dog, or just a circle and make it into a soccer ball, or whatever you're into. It's a fun thing to do. It's actually very relaxing to sew. And like I said, I'm not any great sewer, but anybody can do this. It's pretty easy. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. I hope you guys decide to give it a try. See you soon.